gentlemen, to the 2013 Kyoto 250. Chris Wilkinson here alongside Nolan Scott as we are on the 91st lap of 140. Take 5 off that for the racing laps because I can't be bothered. Robin Friscop's leading us here in front of Phil Diaz and Jarl Tyen have been our 3 leaders for quite a while under our 8th caution for the day. And about to get going green again. And Nolan, we had a good start to the race, didn't we? But we're falling into cautions. Why? Oh, he's gone. All right, forget that. He's gone. No, Nolan has gone away for a moment, so I shall try and talk for a while. We are just about ready to get underway again. And it's going to be this man, Robin Friscop, our race winner from 2012, ready to take the green flag and get us underway for the second time today. Oscar Hardwick's led for a brief amount of time. So is Robin Friscop. He got the pole for the race, as a matter of fact. And here comes the 2NX boys and Jarl Tyen ready to take the green flag. And again, these 2NX cars have to try and jump Jarl, have to get a good restart and have to keep going. Green flag flies for the 9th time of the day here in the country of Japan on a nice oval. It's very pretty. And Shepard and Bertol are actually now sort of held on to the 3 guys at the front who didn't expect them to. Another trailing group in the back. Interesting note as well, now we've got Nolan back, I'm just going to bring this up. Oscar Hardwick fought his way back into the trailing pack, and that's a reasonable effort for considering how far back he was.
He's got up there pretty quick too. I think he's running 9th, 8th position right now. He's putting himself in a lot of risk taking that pit stop, but if he does get up there, you know, there's been enough cycles on the tire now. I think he's going to have decent tires to challenge for the win. So.
Yep, Hardwick already proven himself as an overall racer. He won the Twin 115 last weekend. Is the second of the 2. Jarl Tyen won the first. And yeah, Oscar Hardwick looking very, very racy with the 46 car of Botev looking a bit unruly there. The rookie driver Botev still not comfortable in this oval setting by the looks of things, but yeah, Oscar's starting to churn the miles up and he could be there come squeaky bum time at the end of the race. Friscops and Diaz though are the 2, well no, just Friscops, look. Diaz
they're all alone. Diaz lost the draft there early on. I don't know what's going on. He's done that twice now since they've been paired up. I know that he started the day with a slight hangover. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he's got some help now. And he's going to need it because he's lost the draft twice substantially. And this is a big loss. We're not even talking about a little bit. I mean, something happened, probably lag tap related if I had to guess. But, you know, Jarl's going to try to push him to the front. Shepard's going to try to hang on to the end. And I think Phil's going to get there, obviously. But, yeah, just uncharacteristic mistake. That's twice we've seen from Diaz.
And it's something that not only could cost him a draft with his teammate, could only just cost him, you know, 10 seconds over the course of a stint. This could cost him the race if he does that later on.
Oh, Pantola and Lamont, big contact on 3 and 4 right behind. Pantola's going to hang on to it in the outside wall. I was getting ready to comment on how aggressive that small pack had gotten. Pantola's going to be able to, he's going to be okay, but he's going to lose his substantial positions here, and he's getting real aggressive trying to block it off.
Yeah, Hardwick looking at the front of that trailing group that was and is now not. Hardwick has just gone flying through that pack, and he's now hooked up with Eichelkamp at the front of it, going to try and push his way up to this front pack.
Oh, look at that. He went from 9th to 5th in basically 3 corners. I mean, that's unbelievable. 2 corners, excuse me.
But this sort of over racing is like that, you know, you make a mistake, you get out of shape, you lose a bit of momentum and you just go flying backwards. Bit of argy-bargy back here between Donnelly, Letterello and Carini. A little bit further back in sort of 11th, 12th, 13th positions.
Yeah, Carini got aggressive there, pushing Kingsbury down, trying to take that line from him as Letterello had the lead. I thought there was going to be a little bit more contact there than there was, but it looks like they're going to play it smart fall in line here finally. Oh, as soon as I say that, Kingsbury with a big tap from behind almost loses it down the one of the front stretches.
Yeah, meanwhile, the leaders have all caught back to each other, so Diaz, Tyan, and Shepherd caught to Robin Friscops, and we're seeing about how difficult it was to keep
Kingsbury and
card.
Botev
behind. Round! Oh, Kingsbury and Lieutenant! Oh! Have they all survived? No, they haven't all survived, sorry. And, not too much damage, not too much big contact, but the odd spinner. Botev's gone all the way around. He's recovering and joining at the back, but yeah, I think everyone just tried to throw in the same hole there, didn't they, Nolan? You saw it better than I did again.
Well, it's just it was one of those never-ending crashes. I mean, people just kept hitting each other and hitting each other and hitting each other until finally one of them went around. It was actually, I thought Botev was going to make it through there. Botev was going to make it through there, but he ended up taking the worst of it right there at the end, getting a big spin. But yeah, that's what happened. You know, we had a lot of contact early in that run. People were falling back, and then they were getting really aggressive trying to block that off. And I think that's exactly what you saw right there as well that started that incident. Looks like Botev took the worst of that with a big impact on the pit lane wall. He's got a little bit of lower control arm damage on the left rear. He's probably going to have to fix that.
Oh,
looks like he's
yes,
about 8
at the
degrees of camber on the left rear there.
I was going to say, just looking at the car, it's not going to be in a particularly good position. His left rear tyre is heating on the left-hand ring and nowhere else already, so not particularly sustainable, is it?
You know, I hate to say this from an oval perspective, I wonder if that would work.
One way to find out.
I know, I want to find out. Let's send him a message real quick. Admin, send him a message, tell him to stay out, he can't pit.
Stay out. It doesn't see if Friscops or Diaz or Tyan or Shepherd or Harvick make a pit stop. I wouldn't assume they would. It's silly, but you never know with these guys.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think we're past the faking stage. I think once you get past the stage where everybody starts faking, it's usually a good time to just quit worrying about it. But Shepherd, a little bit of lag there. He finally came back in. He was going to time out for a second.
Meanwhile, Pantola, Kareni, and Blauhoff and Botev making their stop. So Blauhoff making his 8th stop.
I don't understand, you know, I was getting ready to say my boy Blauhoff making another pit stop, but why? What are we achieving here?
Unless he's just trying to have the best car he possibly can for the end of the... But I'm struggling with that, I have to say. Nico Pantola coming in for his first stop, likewise. The other one.
Now, Blauhoff came in that time, I just want to point out, no damage at all on the car. Okay, didn't change tires, and we know he has fuel. So, yeah, whatever. We'll have to talk with him about that after the race just to see what's going on there, see what the strategy there is, because it's blowing my mind. You know, he's giving up track position every single caution.
So safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. What is Raymond doing? What is Raymond Blauhoff doing? He's getting very aggressive on that wheel. Very, very aggressive.
With his tire warming? Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
no kidding.
It's strange because he's such a composed guy. You know, I remember him back from when he was doing a TBO challenge when he came and absolutely wiped the floor with that championship. And he was just such a cool, collected guy. And this race hasn't shown that side of him, you know?
I remember, you know, just before I retired from LFS, Blauhoff came along. And I was actually kind of astonished because you don't see a guy his talent come along too often. You know, you really don't. I mean, and when he first came along on the road side, he was unbelievable. He was fantastic. I mean, I was like, man, this guy can really run with the big dogs. And I think he got signed to a big team. I can't remember what that was. Was it Infinity? Speedo. There we go. And I don't know if he still has an alliance with them or not. Apparently not. But you know, obviously, yeah, I don't know what's going on. He actually did the 250, I think, the year I quit, and did really well in it. So I don't. Strategy-wise, I just don't think I don't understand what he's doing. You know.
Neither do I. I mean, he's been a consistently good runner throughout the years of the 250 that he's been running it, but he has some strange choices, and I'm sure they'll pan out by the end of the race, but we'll just have to see as Ron Prescott is about to take his umpteenth green flag of the 2013 Kyoto 250 and get us underway again. Green flag flies, and it's a good start from Tyan, Friskops, and Diaz pulling away from the group behind of Shepard and Hardwick. Shepard and Hardwick could work together. Contact between Letterello and Eilkamp there. Those two are certainly two to watch.
Look at Eilkamp here getting really aggressive with Hardwick on the inside, blocking him off. Hardwick's not having any of that. He's going to push up into Lattarello. They're both in the outside wall. Lattarello, just no luck at all. He's always there when someone wants to be a complete, well, you know what. And a little bit of contact in the back. Conradi's around. Corns is around.
Yep,
nothing big. I think we're going to continue
too. I think they probably will. They're clear enough. But these guys are battling so aggressively. Ray Kingsbury, Stephen Martin, Joe Letterello, all starting to get into that. Martin Capel there as well. All battling very hard for sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 spots.
Meanwhile, Lattarello is going to come back on the inside of Kingsbury here. He's going to stay in the action. He's always around an action-packed moment. And look at this. Kingsbury just drives down like he's not even there, pushes Lattarello out. Lattarello nearly loses it. He saved the car. Kingsbury now on the inside of Elkenberry. He gets around Elkenkamp. And now Lattarello is going to try to go along the outside, and he does. Stephen Martin now on the inside. Elkenkamp just getting steamrolled on the outside. Really aggressive move from Ray Kingsbury there, not his brother. I want to point out we have two Kingsburys, Ray and his brother Matt. Look at this, Lattarello again, Steve Martin, big contact. Somebody's off in the wall hard. I think that's Elkenkamp. And I am timing out, so this is not good. Cars all over the track. Now's the point where I try to figure out if I'm timing out or if the server just crashed. Now we're getting info that the server might actually have possibly timed out.
Have we all? Well, I've gone. So master server issues apparently. John Palmer.
Just bear with us momentarily. We'll see. Try to get some info for you, see what's going on. It does appear to be a master server issue. One can say that that came at the absolute perfect time for those 5-6 cars spinning and about to careen into the outside wall, just as the server crashed. Lots of Laterallo just all race long in those high stress situations, and you never can get away from them. But we'll have to see what we're going to do now. I'm sure we're going to have some kind of server restart. We're going to try to reset the grid the best we can, judging from those final positions, which we should have data on.
So, there's been a few, Nolan, there's been a few incidents with LFS and server problems recently. Don't want to think about this in any particular way yet until we know more.
I'm going around to my different sources now, trying to figure out what I can.
And as I say, there's been a few. Do stick with us, by the way, everybody at home. We'll be continuing to broadcast throughout this until it goes, until we know more and until we can give you the full information. But I mean, there's been talk around the forums. I'm not going to name names because I have no idea who the names are or whatever's happened. I have been. How am I going to say this? A few select denial of service attacks recently around the LFS community, and this could be it because this is currently have no access to the Live for Speed websites or
Yeah, we were getting info that the sites were down, and it appears that the LFS sites are back up. And whether or not that's going to quickly solve this problem, we do not know. We're still waiting for a little bit more feedback.
So the race administration team have announced we have a minimum of 10 minutes delay. Don't forget, although this is a major stupid thing for me to say right now, don't forget if you have any questions or any or anything like that, don't forget you can contact us on the LFS forum in the broadcast thread. Don't ask me anything I can't answer. Don't ask me anything that I can't do.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna get some. I'm sure we're gonna get some questions now.
We're gonna get some.
Where's the stream? Number one.
So we should probably answer that in full if anybody's just joined us, although that'd be weird. We have unfortunately had server errors. They are the LFS master servers. They're not our individual servers at NDR. It was the full LFS master server.
It appears that we're going to have a update at 41 after the hour.
Yep, this service is actually now running, so we'll have a word with a few people while we're here. First one I'm going to talk to. Sorry to do this without asking Oscar, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's Oscar Hardwick, ladies and gentlemen, and Oscar. Strange situation here.
Yo.
Strange situation we're having here with the service down. Do you know anything that we don't? You want to talk to us, Oscar?
Indeed. Sorry,
It's all
I was
right.
just away there, and I've been moved without knowing. Yes. it would appear that the servers had a somewhat catastrophic failure.
Yeah, so we're going to quickly ask you about your pit stop strategy. What was the stop for? About sort of halfway through that race, or that section of the race that is now split?
Unfortunately, I hadn't turned my lights on at the beginning of the race, and it sounds silly, but I was getting eye strain and the starts of a very bad headache, and I just thought I'd better do it now as opposed to later. Obviously, now I can regret that decision, but so I just pulled over, did that, and there's a few of us who have been at the front all day. We're in the same channel in TeamSpeak, so we're coordinating the starts really well, and I could use that coordination from further back to move up the grid quite quickly. And I think that's actually frustrated a few drivers. I was getting brake checked quite dramatically by Shane Shepherd through turn 1 on that previous restart. I mean, it's stupid driving, but what can you do?
As well, it's been a very, very strange race. We had 30, 40 laps at the start where everything went very, very sanely and very quietly, and we had a lovely green flag run, and then we've descended into this yellow flag chaos. I mean, what do you think's happened? What changed?
I think it was probably just a case of you had the people at the front were that far away. Everyone had seen if we do a long green run, then that's it. It sorts the race and it's set. So people got a lot more drastic with trying to get to the front, and with everyone now having jostled for position over the last 60, 70 laps, it's just been caution after caution after caution. And in all honesty, if we do go green again with only 40 laps left, I would be surprised if that changed at all.
I mean, me and Nolan were saying, been a lot of aggression out there. Certainly in the second half of the 100 laps, a lot of aggression from some certain members of the grid, and
indeed, I'm probably not exempt from that. But at the same time, the problem with it is when someone is moving across on you or blocking you at this stage in the race, then your only choice really is to move back past, and if they try and get past you, give them the same treatment. Otherwise, you're going to be in a vicious cycle. You need to keep your car ahead now, because people aren't pushing, people aren't helping each other move forward in the midfield. You've got to be aggressive back, otherwise you're going to get nowhere.
Yeah, that's what we commented on as well. I mean, you have done quite a good job with controlled aggression. I mean, you worked your way up the field really quickly, but why are we seeing that in the mid pack, do you think? I mean, why are we seeing so little two-car groups? I mean, we've got the leaders, we've got a 4-car train running in a line, and then from basically 5th to 20th almost. I mean, there's just no control whatsoever. I mean, is that lack of skill? Is that lack of, I shouldn't say skill, but experience? I mean, what's causing that?
Well, I think there are a few drivers that are lacking skill, but definitely a lack of experience. I mean, you've got teams back there like Last Lap Motorsports, and I'm surprised that they've not coordinated themselves better, because I believe there are 4 of them currently up towards the front, and those 4 could just make themselves 2 pairs, and those pairings could move away very, very quickly and work very well, but they're just not coordinating it. And in fact, I believe a couple of cautions previous to the one we just had, they actually ended up taking each other out quite dramatically just after I managed to move past them.
Yeah, I knew that you were working with those at that last stage of the race, so yeah, we haven't really talked about that a whole lot, but yeah, I have noticed that. But yeah, like you said, right before the server timed out, there was a huge crash involving, I believe, at least 2 of those members, maybe 3. So, all that's irrelevant now thanks to this server crash, but it came at just the right time for them, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not really sure. There's obviously, you look at people like Phil and Robin at the front. Robin's not got the experience, but definitely the pace, and Phil's doing a great job actually of coordinating us down in the channel that we're all in at the moment. There's a small group of, shall we say, independents as such without teams, and then the INX guys as well. And it's been working brilliantly. When we had the 4 or 5 of us at the front earlier, we were managing to get such fantastic starts over everyone else, pulling a second before the first sector even. So I think everyone's wisened up to that now. But it's still going fairly well.
What do you think is going to happen at the end of this race with that camaraderie, that teammanship that you guys are showing now? Do you think that's still going to be there? Do you guys have groups paired up that you're going to work with at the end and try to race for it, or is there no communication for what's going to happen at the end?
Well, I think the general idea would be to just, if you keep them with it, keep pushing, keep pulling away. Then with 1 to go, it's whoever's going to put it on the line. And we all know that really, and I know even with Phil and Robin, they're teammates, but they will still try and go for it against each other if it's just those 2 left. we're not going to sit back and let someone take it. We're going to push for the win, and hopefully not wreck. But if we do, that's that. I mean, from previous experience with more aggressive drivers like Kenneth O'Keefe, I know that there's people out there that will put me in the wall coming to the line today. And obviously, with some of the driving that I've had aimed at me already, and other drivers have had aimed at them already, we're well aware of who to avoid and who maybe to show the bumper to as well coming to the line, because if you take it on the chin, that's all well and good, but you're not going to be finishing any further up, and it's a one-time event, so you've got to be pushing for the best position you can get.
Yeah, the 250 is all about winning, and I knew, and I want to thank you, Hardwick, that I knew we could not make it through the broadcast without bringing up Kenneth O'Keefe at least once, even though he's not here. That right there is skill.
No, well, I did put on my driver bio for the race that my goals were to win or wreck Ken. So, seeing as he's not here, I only have one goal left. I'm attempting to get there, attempting to do it, but...
Well, I was just about to comment on your driver bio. I have it up right in front of me now, Oscar, and we'll have a quick run through it.
Yeah, no, let's not, because the majority of it is a joke.
Do that. The car number is 42, as we all know. Your control method is the G27. I believe you just bought that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's brand new, and it's doing me absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic. You're 18.
I am.
So you're 12.
Thanks a bunch.
You live in Hampshire, in the United Kingdom. Nice place. Nice
place.
It is. Which bit?
I'm not going to give that much away, because there may be people that want to kill me post-race.
Well, I know where you live.
I know that you know where I live, but that's besides the point.
Anyway.
Kenneth O'Keefe lives in Canada. You're safe.
Yeah, no one in Canada ever leaves.
You started sim racing in 2007.
Yes, I did.
Started LFSing in 2007.
There's a correlation there.
There is. Definite correlation.
Definite correlation between the two numbers.
Your goals and objectives for the race. The first is to win. Second is, as you say, to wreck Kenneth O'Keefe.
Well, really, I guess that wrecking of Ken was a backup objective if I wasn't winning at the end. Because in 2011, the last time I ran the Kyoto 250, Ken very, very kindly removed my chances of getting a third position and a podium by turning flat across me coming to the line. So, yes, a grudge is held there, and I would quite happily repay the grudge to him had he have been hit, but obviously he's not, so it's got to be the win.
Okay. You signed up for the race because Deco made you do it.
Pretty much.
Your occupation is as a student.
You're going to love this, aren't you?
And a lesbian transvestite.
Yes. The second one's not true, but I did get it off of Eddie Izzard, who's a very, very good comedian. And in all fairness, you're reading my bio. I'm pretty sure there are a couple of others out there that are either more racist, less suitable for the broadcast. But yeah.
To have a look.
Not true. Might I suggest Joe Letterello's?
I'm gonna go. That's exactly where I was gonna go first.
Because his I've seen his, and it's a thing of beauty.
There's only one bit of that I'm going to read for Joe Letterello.
There's a reason for that. Most of it's not good for the broadcast.
And it's some interesting safe for work facts about you. Actually, you know what? Is he here? He is here, isn't he?
He is. You can pull him up.
Let's pull him up. S3, 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 S3 in it.
Yes, because we think that the server timeout is because S3.
Okay, Mr. Letterello. Hear me? Hello. We are just sitting here going through some racer bios.
Oh.
Yep, he knows.
While we await the return of the racing, and I want to bring some attention to yours and talk to you about yours a little bit.
Alrighty.
Okay, so you're driving number 3 car today.
That I am.
You're using a G27 controller.
Correct.
19 years of age.
Somewhere around there.
You're 12. You live in Pennsylvania.
That I do.
I don't care about that. Your goals and objectives are to not crash in turn 4.
And I've...
How many times have you crashed in turn 4?
None today.
Wilco, you're
Considering
somewhat
there is no
missing
turn
something
4.
there. You are somewhat missing something.
And I'm going to leave that one out because it's a bit racist.
Buildings aren't a race.
Joe.
If that doesn't tell you all at home what he was talking about, I don't know what will. And finally, some interesting safe for work facts about you. And Nolan, you might be interested in this.
Oh, I'm giddy with excitement.
This is his interesting fact. Quoting one Mr. Letterello. I'm 6 foot, 190 pounds, average built, hard-working man looking for a blonde that likes to have fun. Now, Nolan, I believe you're a blonde, or at least you used to be.
I'm a blonde? What? Call me stupid?
No.
I'm a brunette. Thank you very much. And I'm taken.
Oh, bless. Bless.
Poor
bless,
Joe.
bless.
Poor Joe.
That's the
Sorry,
shame.
Joe, you're going to have to look elsewhere. I don't like to have fun.
Don't believe that for a minute, Wilco.
So who else shall we have a look at? Also of note, tweet from what's his name? Stephen Martin, safety car Steve, tweeting during a red flag Kozlowski style hashtag Kyoto 250. Lovely photo of him looking at his laptop. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can tweet us anything you want. Tell you what, start using the hashtag Kyoto 250. That makes life easier. Start using the hashtag Kyoto 250. Everybody can see everything that's happening, and everything will be mint.
So, Wilco and Nolan, do you guys have any tips for the race winner at this stage?
Well, I mean, Nolan, your call at the start was Phil, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And are you going to change that?
No. Now, my advice right now would be to follow Phil to second place. Oh, that's
Not
a,
a hope.
joke.
Nolan.
Don't take that
Not
serious.
a hope.
Now, I think I think Phil's going to be the guy to beat, but he's won this race like 3 times, so why wouldn't I pick him? It'd be kind of silly. But your car's pretty quick, so I think you've definitely got a car that can win. Latterallo, my advice to you would be try to stay clean. You've been in a lot of contact this race.
You have as well, Joe. And it's not
your
even
doing.
your fault.
No, mainly because the number 46 was driving like his eyes were closed or on backwards.
Every time I
Your
talk
number
about
46.
Joe, I'm like, I've been talking about Joe all race, and it's never his fault, but somebody just slammed into the right rear of him. I mean, every time I bring you up, that's what it sounds like.
People like to slam me. I'm a good-looking man.
6 foot tall, 190 pounds.
Who's that?
I
So,
don't know.
somebody hasn't in fact joined us here in our commentary box / satirical radio box. It probably now is. Is that Christopher Ford?
That's a math equation.
I mean, yes, I can see that's a math equation, but is Christopher Ford behind the math equation?
No,
That's a yes. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. I not really want to speak. I just want to be entertained for well.
Oh, right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
I thought you might be able to entertain me, Wilco, more than Sunderland did today. But yeah.
Oh, I assume you what? I do apologise to everybody watching at home. I now must have a very brief conversation about football.
Do you know when
You
Stephen
mean
Fletcher
soccer.
got injured?
Football's not in season, yeah.
You mean soccer.
Yes,
Do you know
fine,
last week
soccer.
when Stephen Fletcher got injured?
Yes,
I tried to
I was in
convince my
Paris.
friends to put a bet on that Sunderland would go down at 7-2, and they wouldn't do it.
I would right now.
Let's
Well,
see
they're
for
now
the
like
Ravens.
3-1.
I'm going to go file my nails. Let me know when you guys are done.
Honestly, I was there today, Christopher.
Really?
It was pitiful.
21, Titus Bramble.
Going on goal today, apparently.
So how's the race been for you guys?
Yeah, average.
Okay, so with the race director stepping to the toilet for a second, we're going to just have a quick. We've had an announcement from Jonathan Palmer as to what's going to happen. Last lap completed before the issue of the red flag was lap 102 of 140. Lap 102 of 140. 38 laps are remaining at the back count. The track is reflecting the correct order, so 38 laps will remain after the restart, and regrading will commence at 19:55. So fairly shortly, we'll be back racing, back underway. So at 19:55, so that's in 2 minutes' time, we'll start regridding and get some racing underway. And I can't wait. I also can't get in the server on the streaming computer. What's the point? So yeah, we're going to say goodbye to our two short-time visitors. Yeah, we'll be racing in just under 5 minutes.
It's been a while, but the grid is finally being set.
So then, hopefully in just a few minutes' time, we will be back underway. Do apologise for the silence, but I was eating Chinese. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk when I eat my Chinese. Too special. Also of note, due to the unforeseen stoppage, I think, should we call that, Nolan? Should we call it an unforeseen stoppage?
Yeah, we definitely had an unforeseen mishap, needless to say. That's going to change things a little bit. I think what you were getting ready to allude to was the wind changing.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, the 250 is ran every year with low wind.
Make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and when you restart a session, that wind cycle apparently changes. Well, pretty much everybody in the field is readied up except for one.
And we are away. We're ready to go. So then, this is going to look very, very similar to the actual start of the race we had a while ago, but it is.
It is one interesting point to bring up, though, is all those guys that stayed out and withheld those tires for so long. Whereas everybody's on fresh rubber now, so you know, equal playing field.
You think about some guys' strategies, Raymond Blauhoff's strategy, Oscar's strategy of turning his lights on. Who else has had quite a lot of pit stops? Pascas has had several pit stops over the course of the race, and now it just doesn't matter, you know. So, a few guys' strategies have been ruined, but at the same time, a few have been made, and we're all now sitting on equal playing fields. So,
yeah, one interesting thing. One interesting thing to bring up is, Jarl Tenen has a fresh engine, obviously, so he's back. He's back in this race, and you know, number two is all those people with damage that's gone away. So yeah, I mean, it's just a fresh playing field across the board. The one question to ask yourself though is these setups are built for race fuel. What kind of fuel are these guys starting with? Are some guys starting with more than others? I mean, that's something that can play into you know, effect later on. That's a big difference in time.
Yep, so while we're now sitting here waiting for the restart to commence, we'll run through the positions as they stand come the start of the race. And it's Friskops from Diaz, from Dane, from Shepard, from Hardwick, from Lamoth, from now, so I haven't got a clue. Yeah, so Friskops, Diaz, Tyne, Shepard, Hardwick, Lamoth, Kingsbury, Lederello, Martin, Kapal, Eichelkamp, Hall, Kingsbury, Bajua, Gorga, Kagash, Pantola, Paskic, Blauhoff, Krompus, Zlata, Stefanov, Kareni, Donnelly, Tev, Korns, Conradi are the 28 we're sitting on right now. Unfortunately, I've left Stupid Scene in the wrong place. I'll fix that now. There we go, and we can now actually see cars running around on the warm-up lap. Thank you, Mr. Booth, for pointing that out to me.
Looks like these drivers are going to have a headwind coming down the front stretch now. I believe it was 24 kilometers an hour average wind speed.
Yep, so that certainly adds a bit of a more interesting dynamic. Not a major one, it's not like it's strong wind or anything, but
No.
it's something.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It may slow these guys down just a little bit. You know, it might hurt them a little bit in the corners as well. But as I say that, Stuart Baker, our safety car, is going to come into the pit road. Robin Friskop's once again going to take the green flag from the lead. It's been several times now. He's starting from the outside, something we're a little bit more familiar with compared to those inside restarts earlier on.
Yep, definitely. And for the second time, we try and start the 2013 Kyoto 500 again after a short term of absence. And look at Oscar Hardwick behind Shane Shepherd. He's looking very racy already. Wanted to be on the back of that pack there, hasn't made it. Now he's probably put a little bit of an angry mood on Shane Shepherd there. Bunch of three at the front, then two. Oscar Hardwick and Shane Shepherd, Lamoth and Letterello. And Ray Kings all together as well, up front.
Now, Oscar might have put that move on Shepherd, made him upset just a little bit, but he knows that he's got to get to that lead pack now. Those three cars by themselves set the fastest lap of the race before our uninvited disconnect earlier on, and they absolutely dominated that fast lap, so they better get there and get there in a hurry.
Yeah, and in fact, there you are, your time with a 51.22, not the fastest in the world, of course, and they will be beaten, but imposing their pace on the first lap. Although very, very quick from Botev for the back, which very, very quick in comparison. Relatively. Blauhoff starting to fight his way back through as well. Interesting to see if he can make up what he has to by the end of the race. And so far, Hardwick and Shepherd not looking like they're being particularly effective because they're being caught by Lamoth, Kingsbury and Letterello.
Letterello on the inside of Kingsbury. All by himself. I don't think he's going to be able to pull this off. That group needs to work together. Hardwick and Shepherd are going to have a really hard time catching that lead pack. But, oh wait, Shepherd just lost the back of Hardwick with a big lag tap there. Shepherd's going to lose a couple positions here to Lamoth and possibly Kingsbury as well. Letterello is in this pack, so we're going to expect some major contact. It's pretty much been the course of the race all race long for Letterello. Everywhere he goes, there's some kind of incident, not due to his nature, but due to others. Hardwick now in fourth place, completely left out to dry here. We're going to have to see how the pack works with him, if they leave him out or if they give him the big push.
Very difficult to leave him out completely, mind, but could split into 3 or 2 as well. Yeah, could still split that way, and in fact, it's probably looking like it will.
Well, he went for the move, Lamoth did, and Hardwick went for the block, and he made the block work. So he is going to get that push after all and lead this pack.
Yeah, again, it's not a pack that's going to motor onto these three leaders. Drive-through penalty for Botev. I can only assume that's for speeding in the pit lane.
It is. He's in for a pit stop for undisclosed reasons. It looked like due to damage.
Very sideways from Ray Kings. Sorry to interrupt. Sideways there from Ray Kings in this pack. It slowed them back a bit. Oscar's in the same position as he was a few moments ago. Outside of the outside of that pack.
Shepherd quite squirrely as well. Lamoth finally going to try to make that pass work. Lots of contact.
These guys have no limits, do they, at the moment?
Not a whole lot of control in trying to catch the pack in front of him. Lamoth went for the pass on the inside of Hardwick. Made it stick. Hardwick wasn't going to give him any room at all, though. A little bit of contact. They both held onto the cars. Kingsbury and now Lamoth kind of work together, I would assume, since they are teammates.
Yep, riding on board with Oscar Hardwick, looking from behind at this battle. Oscar has to try and stay back in that draft, and he gets it coming into turn 3. So Oscar's still in the 4. Through turn number 3 they go. And the two LLM guys you'd think would try and split, but not having much luck against Shane Shepherd and Oscar Hardwick so far. Not too long now, though, Nolan, to go in this race, is there? I've lost count.
No, we had 38 laps to go when we started this session. Your LTN just sets a fast lap. Meanwhile, back here with this Kingsbury group, they're getting really squirrely, getting really aggressive because they know, like you said, there's not much time left. They got to make it work now. I definitely foresee one more caution in our future, though.
Oh, without a doubt. Probably about 10 laps from the end. Yeah.
7. Yeah.
Jonathan Palmer behind us in the commentary box has contact with you. Oh, sorry, with us, with the racers, but not with you. And he just says in my ear, no, please don't make me make that decision. So, Jonathan Palmer and the race directing crew really do not want a repeat performance of last year's event where we had a 1-lap dash. And brilliant, exciting stuff for you lot. And for us, absolute carnage for racers and administration. I think it probably was carnage, to be honest, but there we are.
Speaking of carnage, Shane Shepherd once again getting really aggressive with the two LLM guys. He ended up splitting the two of them down the backstretch. He's actually going to hold that position. Let's see if Kingsbury wants to work with him or not. He may go straight for the pass, in which it looks like he's showing a nose. Doesn't quite have the run. He's going to fall back in line.
Speaking of this battle and looking at it, a tweet from Oscar during the caution period, not showing particular love and admiration of the LLM drivers, so maybe not particularly desirable for him to work with an LLM guy. He probably doesn't want to do it, but at the same time, at this stage in the race, you've got to just find somebody and latch on, haven't you? And got to be willing to do that at this stage, and Oscar's going to have to do that if he wants to get through this pack. Meanwhile, looking back a little bit further, speaking of Kingsbury's, Matt Kingsbury, sorry, having a few lag issues in the pack, down behind Majua, who is sitting on the front of the pack like normal. He's back to his front of the pack best. Further back, we'll stay with this though, as they have in fact split into two distinct groups here, haven't they? Shane Shepherd now starting to put the push on Nathan Lamont. But they'll have a massive job on trying to get up to these guys, Robin Friskops, Phil Diaz and Jarl Tyen. And Tyen doing quite well actually at keeping on to this group so far in this almost replay of the last 8 laps of the race.
Yeah, it is, and it puts Phil and Robin in that situation where if they want to win this for the team, one of them may have to bite the bullet and push his teammate to the victory. Just then, they had a really slow lap. I don't know what happened. I think Robin had a little bit of a moment, 47.2, and meanwhile behind them, Shepherd and Lamoth in the upper 47s.
Someone looking racy about that. Isn't a 3-horse race just yet. Letterello and Martin working together with each other as well further back. Then you have these guys battling. Matt Kingsbury, Isaac McDew are all battling around 10th place, around that 10th place spot. Patola Botev a lap after his drive-through penalty for beating in the pit lane, I think it was, wasn't it? It was just a few moments ago.
Yes, it was.
Patola also wanting to get involved in that, getting the push from the lap down back marker.
This pack in the back with Kingsbury and Patola and Elkenkamp and Major just got a little bit bigger. Botov now included in that pack.
Yep, again a lap down, sorry, but whoa, still sideways going into that turn 3.
Yeah, I thought
this has
Patola
the
had lost. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this has the potential to get a little bit scrappy here, but Patola looking very, very aggressive and racy.
Yeah, Patola he was at the front earlier on in this race, and I thought he had lost this draft, and luckily Botov was there, pushed him up. Now he's in the fight. A lot smarter racing.
Oh,
going
Elkenkamp!
on.
Elkenkamp getting very, very loose.
Yeah, just as I say that, but a lot smarter racing on a hole going on across the whole field right now.
Yeah, everybody seems to have screwed their clever caps on. Starting to work together a bit, trying to get the gap towards these leaders shrunk, but it's not working at the moment. Meanwhile, the foursome as the trailing pack have come back together, the two pairs linking back. Kingsbury, they're getting very, very loose coming into turn 3. Seen a lot of cars actually getting very, very sideways coming into turn 3, which isn't something I've really noticed in previous years.
Yeah, that's what you want to see out of a car is be able to get that turn into that corner. But yeah, it looks like they're definitely on the aggressive side. Hardwick now on the inside of Shepard pushes up just a little bit, pushes Shepard out of play. Nothing too aggressive, but just missed the apex ever so slightly. I thought Shepard and Lamoth were going to pull away from these two, and it looks like Kingsbury and Hardwick have pulled it back up, and they're going to take the position from those two.
Yeah, rear Kingsbury though, all of them looking very, very close to each other's rear quarters there through turn 3, and this could end in tears whenever you want, as we have 20 to go over the line now. 20 more of this, 20 more 47 second tours, 48 second tours of this Kyoto oval.
Despite our 3 leaders having this massive lead, this 4-car pack of Hardwick, Kingsbury, Shepard, and Lamoth are running substantially faster lap times.
Yeah, and again, as we see, you know, it's not over until the fat lady sings. 5 seconds, the gap between
Patola.
Oscar Hardwick.
Patola around on the backstretch, no contact with the wall, he saves it, but right in front of everybody, they had to deploy the safety car.
Oh, and that behind! Oh,
exactly.
wow! Well,
Pachovic and Botov there. Yeah, I don't think that was. I don't think that was really Botov's doing, even though he was the car on the inside. I think Pachovic was. It looked like he was drifting a little bit before the contact was made, but keep in mind Botov is a lap down, so.
Certainly one for the guys upstairs to have a look at, make sure it was all clean and tidy. But yes, that Patola spin, that Patola issue, has brought out this safety car once again, and Stuart Baker. It is Stuart Baker, isn't it? Yes, it is Stuart Baker. Who else would it be but Stuart Baker?
The one, the only.
The Geordie.
It's probably a good thing for a lot of different drivers there. Friskops and Diaz and Jarl, just all of them. Their right front tires were getting a little bit on the warm side. Those three in particular.
Well, Friskop's still quite aggressively putting heat into that front right tyre, though, isn't he? He wants to keep that hot.
Now, I think of the three before the caution, he actually had the coolest right front because he was leading that pack. But yeah, at this point, I'd say he's going to fall into let's let it cool down mode. Jarl heating up the rears.
They're an acceptable temperature. They're not as bad as I ever expected them to be. And actually, throughout the field, although they have had a chance to cool now a little bit, other than Kareni, who's going absolutely mental on his front tyre warming. All tyres looking a reasonable temperature. What is Kareni doing?
What is he doing here? Look at this.
I am struggling for logic here, I have to say. It's almost akin to Ori and then whatever surname he picked up morning to race with. Ori Mortensen or Peterson or Antika or whatever he decided he would pick on the morning of the race. And his controller tyre warming, where he would just bam, full left and full right very, very rapidly to try and get a bit of front tyre temperature. It's almost akin to that, but slightly more moronic.
Moronic?
And look at him, he's gonna spin it.
That is a wonderful word for this is getting to that moronic stage, that's for sure.
Look at it. Look at it. Doing that fall. Bored? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I'm going to move on because otherwise I'll get even nastier. Our leader still Robin Friskops, Phil Diaz and Jarl Tyne in that front group that we had before the car came out. Oscar Hardwick ended up at the head of the trailing group with Kingsbury, Shepherd and Lamoth. So Oscar's aim surely is to try and stay with Jarl Tyne and the NX boys in this round and try and make life a little bit difficult for them. But I think he'll struggle to hold on to that one, Nolan.
We'll see. I mean, he's there. It's his race. The interesting thing I think is going to be Hardwick and Jarl working together. That's going to be what may make this really interesting.
So we're going to be one at the green at the line, so we will be just away from getting this race underway once more. Can't help but think we've done this a lot today, Nolan.
What is this, our 9th, 10th time now?
Something including the red flag, it must be 10th, 11th. Whatever it is, it's been a lot.
It has. Jarl Tyne gonna go for a fake. Oh, he had me. I thought he was going to go for it. He faked me out. I'm not even in the race. Congratulations.
Should have a trophy next year for the best pit fake, 2014. Actually, I have just, you know what? I have just noticed the theme on Jarl Tyne's car. I don't believe I've been that stupid.
That's the Constitution on the front.
Well, if you just look at the number and then you look at the car, everything makes sense.
That's yeah, I didn't think about the number.
You're
I think
driving the 911 car. I'm going to say it like that.
I think it is probably the best skin of the day. I mean, back-to-back World War champions on the back of it, freedom on the spoiler. I mean, look at the bald eagle with a. I say bald eagle. It's a bald eagle with a Jets fighter's helmet on.
Oh, it's a special eagle. There's
Yeah,
only one
that's a
skin.
special eagle.
The one skin I can remember that's been better than that one, and it was when Jack Ward had teddy bears on in the ITCC.
Yeah, I remember that season in particular. Yeah, that was a pretty good skin as well.
For a good championship.
I enjoyed winning
its
that one.
day.
Yeah.
Big Ed.
I've been retired for 3 years. I gotta brag a little bit. People start talking about the 2009-2010 era. I'm like, yep.
Yep, I'm there.
Nowadays, I'm like, ooh.
So we have 14 laps to go at the green flag, and Robin Friscops gets ready to take it for hopefully the final time today, or at least for him, hopefully the final time of the day, because that means he's going to be on prime position to take the win. And away they go.
Good start at the front again. The four are going to break away. Jarl and Hardwick are got to start working together here. I know that those four are in a channel together, so it's going to be hard for those two to plot against one another like we used to do a long time ago. Look at this big contact all over the field in the top four and in the top six.
Yeah, we've got one on the apron there coming into turn two. Not sure who that was. I think it was Kagash. Kagash on the apron. Might have been Corns, sorry, going on the grass coming into turn number two. Everyone's sort of settling into a line though. They've done quite well so far. Bit of a gaggle back here though, we're watching. Carinian baskets trying to sort themselves out. Rubbing is racing here at Kyoto, or it certainly seems that way for some of these guys. And one person very, very far back, Corns. Yeah, Corns, the man on the apron. And again, here come. Look at this though, up at the front. Robin Friscops and Phil Diaz starting to drive away from this pack. Hardwick and Tynes cannot drop Kingsbury, Shepherd, Letterello, Lamoth and Kingsbury either. They just cannot get rid of them. And these two next guys taking advantage, pulling away comfortably.
Yeah, we're getting close to having 10 to go. It'll be 11 to go this time by. Get down to the nitty gritty. I know that Hardwick and Jarl are going to want to get away from this Kingsbury group because they've done this a lot. Look at them blowing their horn massively.
Horns blazing.
Yeah, Hardwick and Jarl just totally upset with that move from Kingsbury there. That was totally unnecessary because they're trying to win this race. They want to win this race, and now that if it stays green, they've totally taken themselves out of the equation.
Yep, Ty in there, getting himself alone after the contact. Hardwick and Shepherd seem to be the ones that are going to come and pick them back up, but with all honesty, without a yellow flag, without something to impede these two leaders, it's looking like a bit of a two-horse race now. Robin Friscops and Phil Diaz, the NX boys, pulling away and continuing to pull away as these guys just cannot get themselves in any order.
We've got such a long group too, it makes it very, very difficult to stay in line and bump because as that lag tap goes back, it goes back through the whole pack and is increased. So.
Yep, Letterello there on the inside, finding himself once again right in the middle of the action. Shane Shepherd coming down, trying to bump him along as well. 10 to go at the line, 1.75 seconds separates Robin Friscops and Jarl Ty in the first group and the second group. A lot of time to try and make up in such a short space here.
Look at this, a massive amount of contact Shepherd's taken all over the back of him. He's just getting hit all around right now. He's able to hold on to it.
Noble effort from Shane Shepherd to keep. Oh, this right now, Hardwick! Hardwick nearly got turned there by Letterello.
Hardwick nearly turned, and Shepard trying to make a move on the inside. He's not going to make it happen because Hardwick almost pushed him down on the apron. Hardwick's going to slide up a little bit. He's going to hold on to it. Lattarello's there, but he gave him ample amounts of room. Lattarello into the outside wall slightly.
Yeah, Lattarello really hung out to dry there by Hardwick going high, and now he's out of the groove. Probably will lose a few positions. Will Lattarello, that's probably his chance of third place. Done and dusted unless he can pull something out of the bag.
I don't think any of this is. Solidified other than first and second right now. This group here is just. You got Jarl, who has a really quick car, but he's all alone. And the fourth through basically 10.
Oh, Shepard goes down the inside of them. Oh, Shepard goes down. Shepard goes round. That's a massive incident.
Massive
Shepard and Hardwick coming together in the tri-oval, and unfortunately Shepard was the one that got the bad bit of that. The caution is out with 8 laps to go, 7 at the line, as I betted. Thank you. And
Shepard Michael McDowelled that was a huge impact.
It was a very big impact. Again, just squeezed into that inside wall in the tri-oval, and nothing he could do but ride along and hope that he didn't get a thing in his face. And thankfully, it's a video game. Honest.
Yeah,
and the order shifts completely again.
Kingsbury managed to actually get in front of Hardwick and split that Hardwick and Jarl combination up yet again.
The pit entry open, I would be very, very shocked if anyone actually took up the option to use it unless there was some extreme damage around the back of the field.
Yeah, upon observation, I would actually say that Shepard could possibly stay out and be okay with that damage that he has.
Well, he's, I mean, how far is he back now? Where is he? He's down in 21st place, and he's
21st.
going to make the pit stop.
Yeah, him and Joe Lattarello, that's one we didn't talk about a whole lot. He's always in that incident, is he not? Look at that. Just yet again, wasn't his fault, and involved in another crash.
Not collected, and it's going to be a very, very strong effort to fight your way back from 21st, so you might as well dip into the pits and have the best piece of machinery to go and do the last few laps of the race. 7 to go. Stage.
Yeah, with this few laps left, let's see if any of the change tires. I don't think they are. No, both of them stay.
I don't think we can forget here, Nolan, when the green flag flies here, chances are it's going to be for the last time of the day. Yeah, we don't have green-white checkers here. We don't have any of that. When the race is over, it is most certainly over. Whoever crosses that line first, that isn't Stuart Baker, takes the only Kyoto 250 trophy there is every year.
Yeah, you're right. This is definitely going to be down to the end now. And we would have to have a caution within the first lap for us to have any chance of going green again. So that's a good point.
Yep, and Robin Friscops is going to be the man that takes the Robin Friscops that takes the green flag for what will be the final time. Phil Diaz there is going wild with his tyre warming there. Safety car will come in at the end of this lap. And I don't actually know the figure of if anyone who's been on the pole has ever won this race. I honestly don't know, I can't remember. Either this or the 500 where nobody who's been on the pole has ever won it.
Yeah, from my era, I don't remember that at all. I think Phil Diaz, the year he won it in 2009, I believe he started second.
Seems to be a contest here between Eichel Camp and Donnelly. Order is correct according to Jonathan Palmer, so we will not have a stoppage, we will not have an issue. And as we hang off the back of Stuart Baker's bumper for what must be the final time in this year's Kyoto 250 pre-season, season, everything, and we get ready for the final 5 laps after a month of hard work from these guys. Robin Friscops is going to be the man that leads us away for these 5 laps. Stuart Baker pulls in and we draw our attention to Friscop, to Diaz, to tie into Kingsbury, to Hardwick, to Lamoth, to Kingsbury, to Pantola, to Donnelly, Carini, Eiffelkamp, you name them, they're all there, they're all waiting for their piece of glory here in the 2013 Kyoto 500. And the green flag flies for what must be the final time, and it's a great restart from Robin Friscops. All the way back down to Oscar Hardwick, are sort of stuck with this this lead group.
Kingsbury's definitely odd man out here. I think Hardwick's definitely going to get by him, or want to get by him and get to Jarl, but he's going to have a hard time holding on to this group.
Yeah, and I think he has probably lost it, yes, and he has. And unless there's a mistake from the 4 in front, this is now probably a 4-horse race between Kingsbury, Ty and Diaz, Friscops, 4 as we cross the line. Eichelkamp's had enough, he's joined the spectators. Pushing and bumping, bumping and pushing. Phil Diaz and Robin Friscops now going to try and drop these two at some point. Pine and Kingsbury, can they stop working together? Can they make their way past these two NX Racing guys and have one of them take their way in contact there between Diaz and Friscops, getting their speeds wrong coming out of the first corner. Not being able to slot in correctly, Phil Diaz, and paid the price there with a bit of contact with his teammate.
Yeah, they're definitely mismatched. Look at the group behind. They're not quite sure what line they want to run yet.
There's a bit of an incident at the back of the field. We've got 2 spinners. We're going to stay with the leaders though. I think isolated enough to keep it green. 3 laps as we cross the line now. That is surely the point at which this is over. If the yellow flag comes out, this is it, boys. 3 to go.
Look at that lap time already, a 47.7. These guys are really pushing now. It's a 47.7 on the second opening lap. That is absolutely flying. Totally pulled away from the other groups.
Now at 16.6 first split in comparison to a 16.7. These guys are 1/10 of a second at the start alone, and they're already showing for 2 seconds ahead of Nathan Lamoth. It's a 4-horse race now, boys. Now with just 2 laps to go as we cross the stripe for the penultimate time.
Phil Diaz is going to fall out of position here. Oh, look at this. They're setting Jarl and Kingsbury up. This is a different way of doing it than we used to do it a long time ago, but they're going to go for the quick run at the end. Maybe they're going to try to take the top line away from the 2. Oh, Friscops and Kingsbury. Big contact on the backstretch. Diaz is going to take the lead from Kingsbury. That's going to put him out of position.
Yeah,
badly.
I think Friscops could have lost this. In fact, Friscops in the wall there. So certainly Friscops is out of this. Almost,
Diaz has left him. Diaz has left him, so yes. Diaz is not lifting. Diaz will be lucky to be able to hang on to Kingsbury here.
Yeah, but the white flag is out. And it's going to be a two-horse race between Ray Kingsbury and Jarl Tyen by the looks of things. Through the first corner, Tyen's going to hold that inside line. He's not, he's coming a bit high actually.
Kingsbury lift.
Can he find a gap?
Yeah, he's lifting a little bit. He got into the outside wall ever so slightly, but it's not a big deal. He's lifting. He's waiting for that final corner.
Here they come though, down this back straight. Pushing goes Ray Kingsbury. Into the final corner, into turn 3. Tyen goes deep. Kingsbury tries to go even deeper, but there's no room for him. There's no gap. All he's got left is his draft coming down to the stripe. Tyen covers the outside. Contact between the two. Contact between the wall for Kingsbury. And now he comes around the outside. But it's not going to be enough. And it's going to be your Tyen after contact. Going across the line. And it's Tyen that wins the 2013 Kyoto 250.
Diaz clearly upset with Kingsbury there. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And over goes Kingsbury. We'll not watch that. That's not pretty.
Yeah, Kingsbury on his roof now. I really don't put a whole lot of blame there with Kingsbury. I know I'm part of this team, but Friskop's got really aggressive there at the end and tried to make something happen that I don't personally think was there. But, you know, unique strategy nonetheless. It's the first time an NX or a Core Racing cars ever went to the, went to victory circle here. So congratulations to Jarl Tyen on winning that race. Good job from him.
Yeah, Jarl Tyen, a man who's persevered for a lot of years here in NDR events, and especially here in the 250 and the 500. And now he finally has a win to his name. Still hasn't learnt the donuts just yet, but
Bring them in together.
so, yeah, that was an exciting end, wasn't it, Nolan?
It was. I just still, unique form of strategy at the end, but Kingsbury almost had Jarl at the end and made a little bit of contact. But let's go ahead and interview Jarl and get his perspective on things.
Yeah, we'll try and get the top 3 in here and have a bit of a chin wag. And we'll start with this beautiful man. It's Jarl Tyen, who's still doing donuts and being a bit of an idiot around the pit lane. Jarl, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. You're the 2013 Kyoto 250 champion. How do you feel?
Pretty good. I mean, dressing race, I'd say.
We heard rumours of engine damage in that first 100 laps. Obviously, you got a new car, so that wouldn't have mattered in the end. But were you racing along with engine damage there?
Yes, I managed to get a engine damage on the first pace lap. I managed to switch from third to first gear. So, but when me and Robin pushed, we were having quite a fast pace, even though I had engine damage. So, I mean, it didn't make much of a difference. But once Robin pulled away, I had no chance because the engine damage was like 4/10 difference.
And then obviously the stoppage must have helped you in getting your engine back together.
Yes, definitely.
And again, it was another. I mean, you were involved last year in the ending. I seem to remember it was that was quite an exciting one. Not exciting in the same way this year, but
You mean 2011?
interesting. I do. Oh, was it 2011? Was it?
Yes,
Oh.
it was.
Damn it.
Well, 2 years ago.
Yes.
Well, a couple things for me is number one, Ray was behind you at the end of the race. I mean, Yeah, there's no alliance between you two. Obviously, I know that you, Phil, and Robin were in a same in a similar channel. What happened there? What was up with Phil and Robin breaking off? And I saw you went for the lead, which was obviously the right decision. What invoked that? Was that team orders or anything? What caused that?
Well, as you probably saw, top four managed to pull away on the restart, and Phil went high on Robin because he saw there was a wreck, so he wanted to take the lead as the caution came out. But the caution never came out, so I had to run to take the bottom, and as I did, I didn't really see what happened, but I think Ray came up into Robin, and that kind of pushed both Phil and Robin back. And me and Ray managed to pull away quite fast, seeing as Phil and Robin wasn't connected.
Yeah, from a strategist standpoint, I was looking at wondering what might have caused Phil to come up, but now that you've alluded to that, I understand that. So good job on your part. Good pace overall, and it was a great move making that low line work for you into 1 and 2 and won you the race.
Yeah, now we'll move our
Thank you.
attention to Ray. And Ray, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris.
Fantastic. Hello.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm not too bad. Exciting end, Ray. Talk us through it.
Well, I got into the side of, I think it was Frisk Officer Phil. I saw one of them in my mirror, and I thought it was clear. So I went to go pull up, and then I saw quickly one of the other one in the mirror, and I hit him. And, yeah, so that kind of sucked. But after that, Aerox, I just pushed Aerox, and I was kind of just sitting there. I was, like, probably going to get second. Decided to try to go for it on the last lap. It was leader's right to try to block. Aerox did block successfully. Gave him a little love tap across the line, and we slid across, and he beat me fair and square.
We're not going to shy away from the fact. I don't think anyone's trying to shy away from the fact that there was some very, very aggressive driving, some very, very hard racing in the mid pack. And how did you work around that? How did you find it? And why did you think it happened? Why did you think it was so aggressive?
I mean, I started up front and pretty far up front in the race, and stuck with my teammates and people I'd worked with in the 115. There was an instance before the red flag where the 23 was outside of me under pace lap checking his fuel, and I didn't see him, and I went to go tire warm, and I did get punted back pretty far. But after that, I hooked up with Oscar, and we pretty much went to the front, and then I found all my drafting partners, and everything worked itself out pretty well. Most of my teammates were shuffled all around, but I was pretty consistently up at the front. I was working with Shepard for a bit. We were in the same team speak, but he's a little aggressive, so he ended up getting into Oscar, and I guess that's still being investigated.
I saw going into the final corner, you gave Jarl a big push. I thought you were going to go for the pass into the final corner. I saw you went for it on the back stretch. Was that because he blocked you down into 3, or was that just because you wanted to give him the push and maybe try to get him off the corner?
Actually, I was just content riding through that corner, trying it on the front stretch, but Aerox braked into the corner and caused me to get into the back of him a bit.
Yep, and thank you very much, Ray, again. Very, very good drive, to be honest. Well done, mate. Finally, we'll move on to Mr. Philip Diaz, the man who has won 3 of these, and unfortunately not a 4th today. Phil, talk us through it.
All right, can you hear me right now? Yes, you can.
Of course.
All right.
Yep.
My wheel, with about 30 laps to go, decided to stop working. My talk button wasn't doing anything, and so I had to switch that and options right in the middle of driving, and then my shifter stopped working. So when I went to shift on the next restart, instead of going to 4th gear, it went to 5th gear, just double shifted it. And also when the caution came out right after, it went from 5th to 3rd, so it wasn't too lovely. I had to actually shift with my keyboard at the end of the race, which isn't too bad, but it hurts on the restarts.
A little bit of
Go on.
So a little bit of discontent after the race with quite a few drivers. I don't want to start a lot of controversy here, but I mean, how did you see that the finishing of the race? I mean, was there anything anybody did wrong that should have caused such controversy, or no?
I don't know. After the race, I just didn't see a car above me. But I don't know. Finish of the race was just how it is. It always gets messy. That's why
Yeah,
I
that's
normally
how
try
I
to
saw
be
it.
at the front.
That's how I saw it as well. A little bit too much pankering after the race, I think. But third place finish from you. That's I guess that's what your worst finish ever. I guess that's not too bad of a
Yeah.
It
stat,
is,
right?
yes. Never
very
finished worse than
upsetting.
second. Bless you.
Yeah, it's very upsetting to get third. My worst finish ever, right? I didn't even lead a lap that entire race, so.
Oh.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, no. I was going to
Bless
try
you,
to just
little cotton
lead the
sock.
last one.
Well, that's the one that matters, isn't it? Fortunately, not today.
Yeah, I actually ended up going over 10,000 laps on this combination during the race. That's really awkward. Over double
kinda
of everyone
scary.
else. Yeah. It's not from a lot of practice. It's just from those 4-lap races we used to do years ago. And now it's just slowly goes up.
All right, thank you very much, Phil. We're just waiting on a few other guys. We're going to try and get Rob Friscops in here. Where else we can talk? Jonathan's running and getting me Robin. So we do have Robin now. So hello, Robin.
Hello.
What did you think? Come on, racing your thoughts. How did it go?
Well, most of the race went quite good, but then on the final lap there I hit the wall and lost all the draft and stuff, so quite disappointed with the result.
Well, with Phil all the way through, and Phil, you might be able to shed light on this one. You just couldn't. Were you planning? Were you trying to get rid of y'all? Were you trying?
No,
Oh.
it was never really a plan of getting rid of anyone. We were just going to ride it out and see what happens.
So what was going wide in turn one with 3 to go? Oh, no, 1 to go,
I
2 to
saw
go.
people crashing, and I didn't know whether the race was going to be like getting called a yellow or not. So I just was like, "Oh, I'll try it." And then next thing you know, it was 3 wide. Once it was 3 wide, and then coming off of one that we had an issue. So I don't know. It's just how it ended up. I shouldn't have went high, but I did.
So let's just rewind. 5 to go after the green flag. If you were doing this race again, what would you two do different? As inexperienced drivers, what would you do different? So that everyone
Same
can
thing.
listen to this and record it, and then next year we'll beat you.
Would have
you do
done the
different?
exact same thing. Only I wouldn't have went high with 2 to go.
Yeah, there's not really much other things to do really. Like the thing you can do is to try and break away from the people behind you, but we weren't able to do that, so yeah, not much different things to do.
Well, if that's it, we'll move on finally, I think, to Stephen Martin, safety car Steve. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hey guys, I'm okay. A bit frustrated, disappointed after that race, to be honest.
And a 15th place finish, and I don't know about you, Nolan, but I saw Steve flying backwards towards the camera, and once more in the pit lane. You've had a very quiet day, Steve. What's happened?
Well, I was in the mid pack for most of the race, certainly before the red flag, and I got a few setbacks early on, but I was gradually working my way back to the front, and I was up to about 9th at the red flag. And after that, I had help from I think Martin Gapau and Joe Letterello, who helped give me a lot of speed, and we were working our way towards the front nicely. But both of them had trouble getting awkward contacts on the back of my bumper, getting in the wall and dropping back. and then after the restart, the first restart after the red flag, I dropped back and was getting in all sorts of chaos that you usually get in the mid pack in this sort of race. And during that phase, I got damage on my right front camber, and it just wasn't working. The race for me, it just wasn't to be.
And just thinking back, is this the first time you finished this?
No,
Oh,
that'd be silly.
oh, all right.
This is my third
Alright.
finish.
So is it the Kyoto 500 that you've never finished?
No, I've finished that one as well.
Have you?
Yes,
Are you sure?
certainly. 2010, I finished 8th in the 500.
Whoa.
I didn't know that.
We
Go on,
commentated the qualifiers together, Martin, and I just wanted to ask you, we hadn't talked a whole lot about you today. What was your strategy early on? Were you kind of just riding in the back, kind of waiting? I mean, what was going on?
I wasn't really waiting. I was trying to go as fast as I could, just trying to get back through the pack. But the trouble that you get through the midfield, it's not as smooth, the coordination between the cars as you get up the front. So you're trying to. There's a few more obstacles that you get than you'd get higher up. So my strategy was just try and ease my way back up through the field as much as I could, and hopefully be near the front and in contention near the end. But it didn't happen, which is a shame. But oh well, what can you do?
Yep, you're very, very right. Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks a lot to everybody in here. Before we go, I'm begging Mr. Palmer if we can have a word with him. But he says no. Which is very, very disappointing, which I would have absolutely loved that, as a matter of fact, just to... I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk to D after a race is finished. But I suppose that's what the forum and the like is for. And he's angry.
He just loved this race so much that he doesn't want to speak. He's probably celebrating right now. He has champagne and everything. He's celebrating.
He'll have a can of Guinness, because that's all he actually knows about alcohol. But anyway, before we go, Nolan, your final thoughts on the day. How's it been?
That's surprising. It's been a while since I've been here and seen it, but just surprised with the end of the race and how it played out. I did not expect a 4-car train to break off. It was good. It was entertaining. I mean, we're kind of sitting here kind of like, wasn't the best one we've ever seen, and we got to remember there's 0.04 of a second from first to second place. So great race. I mean, it's a great race every year. So I had a great time doing it. It was fun to come back for a little while, and thanks for the opportunity.
Fantastic, and thank you as well for gracing us with your presence, Nolan. It's not often I get to sit here with someone who actually knows and actually talks sense as much as you do. I normally have to waffle crap. So,
I'll take that as a compliment.
And not only that, actually, Philip has just reminded me, you did not say the word unique once. Not once.
Oh, isn't that unique? Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I got that going for me. I was talking to Wilco before this. I saw the video on YouTube that y'all put online of me saying unique. I said unique 3 times in 45 seconds. I mean, what's the deal? Come on, cut me a break.
Nolan. You say real unique a real awful lot, man. I mean, you say, hey, that's real unique all of the time. All of the time. The only time you haven't said it is today. And you'll probably have said it to somebody off here. You will have said it. Of course you've said it.
Yeah, I'm texting somebody right now.
It's an institution. It's like Phil Diaz's awful two-tone Impreza.
Oh,
you've just got to have it.
Hey, did you have a Nissan Juke? Oh, you did, and you crashed into someone, and then you got another Nissan Juke. Am I right?
Another Nissan Juke?
Yeah.
It's a long
like you
story,
bought
Nolan.
2?
Yeah,
I shall tell you off air, Nolan. I shall tell you off air, Nolan.
Coming from the guy who got denied from McDonald's. What?
Who got denied from McDonald's?
I don't know, I heard it was you, Wilco.
Me? Oh, no, I didn't do that. I did something with McDonald's, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to wrap it up now.
He denies McDonald's.
We are going to wrap it up now, gentlemen.
Can we make fun of Phil's car just a little bit longer?
Here's the McDonald's. Wilco took a date to McDonald's.
Well, ain't that unique?
I love how Deco does not want to talk until he can humiliate Wilco.
I'm used to it now, Philip. I'm used to it, seriously.
That just made
Wait a
the
minute, wait a
race
minute.
right there.
Was it one of those like serious dates, or was it like I'm gonna take her to McDonald's to see if she's cool with it, and then take her on a real date on the second date? How'd that work? I mean, what-
It was
Did
sort
you
of in the
pull
middle.
up to it and then just be like JK and turn
So-
around, or did you?
No, I went in.
Oh,
I had a big
see,
match.
Well, he just
I
said it
mean-
was in the middle, so that means he was serious
in
and
the-
didn't realize the outcome until after she slapped him across the face.
Yes, that was
But you
exactly
did get
correct.
denied, Wilco.
Not by McDonald's.
At McDonald's, close enough.
Yeah, I suppose.
He didn't order
Anyway.
the fruit parfait for her. Go ahead.
Anyway, gentlemen, we must now close this all up because we've gone over time with me taking the mickey out of me. Badger Watch is on after this, however. So, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. It's been a very interesting afternoon. It's been a very enjoyable afternoon and evening for me today. When are we next on air? NDR, Jonathan.
GT1 World Series, most likely. I have no idea.
12 hours of action.
April,
in 2 weeks.
April
World
11th.
Series, April the
2 weeks.
11th.
second Saturday in April, ladies and gentlemen. Second Saturday in April. April
April 13th.
Right here on simrace.tv, is that what they're called? I think so. Yeah, that's what they're called. So thank you to everyone who's taken part, everyone who's tuned in and watched us, even through our little fracas with the old server issue. We do apologise for that, but nothing we can do when the master server goes down. Thank you to all of the admin team, to Jonathan, to the other Jonathan, to Deco, to Boothie, who's kept me right all day. Stuart Baker as well, who has the most boring job in the world of pedaling a safety car around. Bless him. Good at it, except when he spun, but that's off the point. And yeah, I'm fairly sure that as well, talking oval and talking Kyoto 250, the Kyoto 500 won't be far away, will it? Anyone? Last
Late
week
July,
in June,
isn't it?
like always. Last
June?
week in June, like
Oh,
always.
okay.
I think I might be in Africa for that, actually, Jonathan. I am in Africa, so I will not be here. I am in Africa, doing African things. But you will
going
all
on a
enjoy it.
safari?
I'll explain that later as well.
Are you hunting lions?
I'm not hunting lions.
That's disappointing.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you very, very soon. Have a good night. Good night, everyone.